Route 66, and today I am going to tell you something about this synthesizer here, the Crumar Bit 1. And what I'm going to tell you today is not a review. I'm not going to take this synth apart oscillator by oscillator, filter by filter, and tell you what it can do. But what I'm going to tell you about today, and what I'm also going to show you, is a new operating system for this Bit 1, or for all the other Crumar bits. There are 3 in total. There's this rack version. There is a keyboard version of this called the Bit 99. And there is also an earlier keyboard version with a different filter chipset, and that is called the Bit 1, not O1 like this, but 1 as in O-N-E, the letters. It's rather confusing. It's Italian logic. We're gonna come across a lot of Italian logic today. This is the chipset. This chipset is, I ordered this in Germany. I will tell you in the links below this little review. I will tell you where you can buy this. This is 50 euro. You have to be careful that you order the right one, because there are, for the 3 different bits, there are 3 different chipsets, and of course I ordered the wrong one in the beginning, so I had to send it back, and then they sent me a new one. But it is now here, and inside I will show you. I hate these boxes that open like this. Inside are, let's see how they've come. There are 2 chips, ICs, integrated circuits, and they will go into the synthesizer. They are very easy to pull out. They are both already, they're in sockets, so you can just pop them up with a little screwdriver, and you pop the new ones in, and that's basically what we are going to do here. So you don't have to do any soldering. You hear the Bit 1 now in the background. Of course, this is a module. It has MIDI, 6 voice analog synthesizer. And why does it need a new operating system? Well, the main problem with the Bit 1 is, apart from being being very unreliable, I mean, you can hear it now. There is a big volume difference in the voices. This thing needs to be repaired again for the 20,000th time. The big problem with this thing is, of course, you can see that it has presets, but you can edit it. On the front panel here is a nice layout, but what you have to do is, first you have to hit address, and then you have to find the parameter here. So, for instance, parameter number 19 is the filter cutoff. And then here you see the value, and then with the up and down you can set the value. Well, as you can understand, this is kind of a pain in the ass to edit this thing. And so what this new chipset does, this new operating system, is it will let you control the synth's parameters with MIDI controller, MIDI CCs. So that will make it instantly a lot more interesting and a hell of a lot more easy to edit, that's for sure. And it has a few other interesting things, like, for instance, this thing always boots up in MIDI Omni mode. It forgets its MIDI channel, so MIDI channel is always number 1, which is great if you have 1 or 2 synthesizers. if you have 30 or 40, this becomes an issue. And from the other thing that I'm kind of curious about this thing is, as a matter of fact, I'm surprised it doesn't do it now, but usually when this thing gets any form of MIDI clock or timing information, it goes completely crazy. And for a long time I had this and my the sequential 6-track that I don't have anymore, on a completely separate MIDI interface, because any timing information, they would both go completely nuts. So I'm hoping that it will also solve that. Enough of you. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how we are going to do this. We're going to put those chips in. And the other thing, of course, that you do is you always put in a new battery. Because that's another problem with this machine, is it forgets its sounds. Not always, but if you don't turn it on for a while, then it boots up and all the sounds are... It can be actually interesting because it will set parameters at non-existing values. So if a parameter goes from, for instance, this filter cutoff went from, I think it's a 0 to 63, and all of a sudden it will have a value of 97. And okay, you get crazy sounds. The problem is you can't really save them, because if you try to save them, then it doesn't. It's not the same anymore. So I've actually made tracks with some crazy shit that came. I could not turn it off. I couldn't even change the sound, because then it would be gone. But and while that's interesting, it would be nice just to have a reliable synthesizer for once. Crumar, come on! This Crumar makes these, and yeah, I have another Crumar, the DS2, back there, which is quite another reliability issue story. But I will make another video about that thing. Anyway, this is I love the sound of this thing, and it's really cool because, for instance, you can have a lot of parameters. Can be changed by velocity, and for an analog synthesizer from 1984, I think this is 84, 85. There were not many that could do that, and it has 2 VCOs or DCOs. I have to say they're DCOs. You know, it has 2 LFOs. It's actually a nice synthesizer. It's a good sounding thing. However, like I said, this one needs a little TLC. So don't only judge the sound of the Bit 1 by what you hear from this thing. Anyway, so we are going to open this thing up, and I'm going to show you how to put the ICs in. I have the telephone cam is recording everything from above, so that's what we are going to do. Okay, first thing we are going to do, of course, and then when it's all together, we put it back together, we plug in a MIDI controller, and then yeah, the moment of truth, then we will actually see if it works. I am curious, because hey, it would be a super interesting deal here. So, all right, the first thing we do is we turn the synthesizer off. I have my screwdriver. This thing is quite easy to get into. Of course, always, you know, that's the MIDI. Where is your power? Here is your power. Always undo the power, and never leave it plugged in when you are working in the machine, because it's not a good idea. Especially something like this that's connected to 230 AC mains. Don't even go there. Luckily, the Bit 1 is very easy to get into. There are just a few screws on the side here. 2 on every side and 1 on top. And I will tell you, normally I do this on a workbench, but because of all the camera setups and all that shit here, I do it here because then you can actually see what's going on. And otherwise I would have had to rebuild the whole camera setup, and I didn't really feel like that. So all right, see the 2 screws here on the side, 2 screws here on the side, 1 screw on top, and hey presto, the top lifts off. I wish all synths had that. I have some of my synths where, you know, to do even something stupid and basic, you have to, I don't know, you have to take the whole thing apart, and some of these things are so badly made that you think, you know, which idiot did this? So let's take a peek here. Yeah, it's very obvious. You can see the big ICs for the operating system. They are the only ones also on the top that are in sockets. So yeah, it's very easy to locate those. And then here is the box, and you check. These are C and D. They are very clearly labeled, and here are in fact also C and D. Yes, there they are, okay, this is a Phillips screwdriver, and in order to do this I take a little flathead screwdriver, and you won't be able to see it from this camera angle, but you just pop the screwdriver under the chip, and you pop it up a little bit, and then you do the same from the other side, and then you pop it up a little bit there, and then you can pull it out. Be very careful with the legs, that the legs are that you don't bend the legs. You can rebend the legs, but yeah, okay, it's easier to take a few seconds longer to pull them out gently, and then then when you have to, because every time you bend them they lose a little strength, and if you do it too often, then I speak from experience, they eventually they break, and then you can throw the whole chip away. So let's do the other one. Okay, here we have, well, let's show them properly. Here we have the 2 old ICs. Yeah, put those back in here, and then we just take the 2 new ones and gently make sure that they are in the same. There is a, and let me show you. I don't know if you can see it here, but here on top there is a little notch. Every IC has a little notch on top, and there is always, you can always see where that notch goes. That notch is always either in the schematics or in the drawings, or in this case there is a socket that is still in here, and the socket has that same notch. So you always know where to put that, because otherwise you put it backwards, and then yeah, strange things happen. You really don't want to do that. Okay, let's now put the other ones back. Have to be careful also with this circuit board, because the circuit board flexes a little bit here on top, and you really don't want to push too hard, because then you can break the solder or the soldering connections, and then you get cold solder joints. And yeah, that I've resoldered these boards several times already. The soldering on these things is appalling. So you really want to be careful with that, that you don't do that, because otherwise you have to pull the whole board out and resolder every little connection just reflow the solder, and it is a huge pain in the ass to do that. Okay, this one is now done, and I'm just going to put my finger underneath the board here and support the board a little bit while I gently push the chip in here. Yeah, this one is done. Do the second one. Same thing, just make sure it's all lined up with those yeah, now this one is in too. Finger underneath again. Okay. Make sure all these are lined up. Yes, they are. Are these lined up? Yes, they are. Okay. Okay, so these are now in. Make sure they are. Yeah. Okay, okay. Now, pop out the battery. Yeah. And take the correct one, yes. Take the new battery and put that in. Luckily, luckily this thing already takes CR2032 little batteries. A lot of synths have soldered in batteries, and when those, technically they will recharge when the synth, the power is on. Only, you know, a lot of these synths are old, so there's a point where they don't recharge anymore, they don't want to recharge anymore, or you've left the synth off for too long, or whatever. And they won't work anymore. And then every time you turn the synth on, it's the same thing as what I said with this, only then it's the battery. The battery doesn't recharge anymore. And what I always do is I unsolder that battery, and rather than putting another soldering battery in, which is going to lead to the same problem in a few years, I always put in a 2032, a little battery holder. Those things are like 50 cents or something. You can buy them per 100 on the eBay or wherever. And then you just put one of those little knoopcel is what we call them in Holland. Knoopcel, little button things in, and they will last 5 or 6 years, and then when you get the same problem again, that all of a sudden the synth will warn you, like battery low, or it won't work anymore, or whatever. You just pop this out and you pop a new one in, and you don't have to do any re-soldering. I know a lot of technicians do the same thing that work on synths, but it's actually very easy to do it yourself. So, but this one already had this in there. It's part of the circuit board. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, you can see it right there. Okay, well, that was. Let's pop these in the. Always good to save these. These are the old ICs. Save these if in case it doesn't work or anything goes wrong or whatever, then you can you can always put the old ones back in, and then hey, you've wasted some money and some time, but the synth is still okay. But I'm sure these work. Usually these operating system chips, they're usually written by people that know what they're doing. So I'm not too worried about that. I've done it before on other synths, and it's always okay. So okay, this is now done. So we can put the cover back on. Let's see. always a bit of a pain in the ass to line up all these holes. Yeah, I always do the top one first, because the top one is the easiest to put in, and then I never do them up all the way. Always leave them, put them in a few turns so that your screw is in and that it can't move too much anymore. But never do it all the way. Leave it loose a little bit so it can move around, because you need a little bit of play here, so you can see what's going on here, and then here it's sort of the same thing, and then here is the back. Actually, what you should really do is, before you put all these screws back in, it's actually better to test it before you build the whole thing back, because if I fucked up somewhere, then I'm going to have to unscrew the whole damn thing again, and really don't want to do that. But I'm pretty sure this is okay. But actually, normally I would leave the cover off to test it, and only when I see that it's okay, then I will put the cover back. Okay, and now let's see. Moment of truth. Here we go. Let's plug this thing back in. And of course, what we have to do now is we have to, because the battery has been out, it has now definitely lost all its sound. So we go through to the tape input. I am from the days that you still had to actually do this with a cassette deck, or later a Walkman. I used to actually bring, it may even have been this one actually. Did we bring this? I think we brought this to live gigs. Can you imagine? And I would have tapes with me with the sound banks on it, and then you had a Walkman with a little, or a tape deck with a little connection cable, a mini jack to jack, and then in case anything happens, it would lose its power. And I used to have a sequencer, an Alesis MMT8, and it was notorious. I hated that thing. I mean, I loved it as a sequencer, it was great, but I had two. I always brought two with me, because it would just lose its power. And if the power was not perfect in these places where we played, and it never was, because we played in a lot of squats and all kinds of weird places, and you would plug it in and you would turn it on, and the display would go black. And if you saw that, then it was already, oh God, no, not again. And then you would have to load all the sequencer data in from a tape, and stand there with your butt cheeks clenched together, and hoping that it would actually load the sounds when you could see people were waiting, and spoiler, and it was what a fucking nightmare that was. Anyway, this thing is from the same time, so it still works like that. I think you can get these days, those sounds are also as a MIDI exclusive, but I have that. I have a sound file of that. I think it's the factory bank. I just load that in, and then you can see what it does. And okay, let's plug this in here, and then I have to do it on the computer. Okay. Power it up. I have to turn this a little bit, I saw, because otherwise my light reflects in it. It's all a little bit this recording, this studio and this setup. It hangs by paper clips and shoestrings the whole bit, but it doesn't matter because we're having fun here. Okay, here's the sound or the synth. As you can see, it it switches on. It does things. Yeah, does this. Okay, well. So that means it's not crashed, or it hasn't exploded, or it's not burning, or it's not warm. So no flames, no smoke. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, I put it in tape mode, and then yeah, let's do this. Load. Let's see. Yeah, okay, here it goes. This takes about 1 minute, and this is a factory sound bank. Yeah, you will not hear the sound because the sound goes direct. And I've turned it off the speakers because yeah. But you know how this sounds. It's a beep. You know, like old modems and all that that stuff. I don't know if you're watching this, if you are from the same generation as I am, but if you are, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Let's see, are we done already? Yes, we are done. Yes, we are done. Okay. All right. We can unplug this. Let's see. All right, now, first of all, was that the... there's too many cables here, too many cables. No, that was not the audio, that was the wrong audio. Okay. Okay, first of all, let's check if... the arpeggiator is still on here. Oh, that's okay. It's actually... latch it. Okay, so it works. It has sounds. Nice. Cool. Okay, and now, of course, the big trick is to see if we can get this to work. Now, I've already with the chipset comes a list. Actually, it's not a physical list. You have to download it from the website, so it technically doesn't come with it, but you know what I mean. There's a list of which MIDI CC numbers will correspond with the parameters of the synthesizer now. So this weekend, Corona, nothing to do. I already made a template on this thing. This is a very old Novation Remote Zero XL. I mean, this is like 15 years old or something, but I love this thing. It still works. There's an editor for it, and on the editor you can really easily make set it up what all the knobs and switches can do, what they send out, and super easy. I love that thing. And so I made set up a little template for the Bit 1. On page 1, which is here, are all the main things, and I've made a separate page for all the parameters that are velocity sensitive, because in reality I don't really use the velocity sensitivity that much. It's cool, but for me this is it's a nice old... Actually, I don't even use this thing polyphonic. I use it mostly for bass sounds, which is kind of stupid because it's a polysynth, but I think that's where it does bass sounds. It does really nice bass, kind of those little bit muted sounds. I've used it actually in a lot of tracks as my bass synth. So I would be very pleased if this works. Now, because of course this is a module, I have connected this let's see, the MIDI is not direct, but it goes through a little Philip Reese, this is the little 2M. I think I've had this thing for like 30 years or something. Always laying in a drawer. This is a MIDI merger. This merges two inputs into one. And I never needed it. I think I have no idea where I got that thing. Somebody gave it to me, or I stole it somewhere, or bought it cheap. I really don't know. But this is the first time in 30 years or something that it actually comes in handy, because otherwise with this module, this thing has of course only one MIDI input, and I guess technically I could use something like the Matrix Brute, but then I would have to reprogram all its knobs to send out CC, different CC. I don't even know if that's possible. So we're just doing it this way. It gets the MIDI notes from the Moog, the arpeggiator, and yeah, we're just going to plug this. Oh yeah, I've already plugged this in here. It's already set up. Only it's of course in the beginning when we first did it, it wasn't doing anything because it was not replying to CCs. But I can also unplug it and then plug it back in. So then we pretend this is the first time this has happened. As you can see, my preparations for these videos leave a little to be desired, but hey, who cares? This is just for fun. Now let's see. I think here, the most obvious one that you immediately hear will be, of course, the filter cutoff. So let's try that. This is the filter cutoff. And it's not doing anything. Why is it not doing anything? Of course it's not doing anything because you have to set it in address mode. Address mode is basically edit mode. So let's also set this to the correct MIDI channel. Yeah, 72 is the Omni mode, it's off, and then 73 is MIDI channel 9. That's what we're going to use for this. Yeah, okay, it's already, yeah, this is already sending out Omni anyway. So okay, that's already correct. Yeah, and then now we are in edit mode of the bit 1, and now let's see if it does anything. Ah, here we go. Hey. Ah, bingo. The resonance. Ah, neat. Okay, so hey, this works. This is really cool. Actually, this is really cool. Yeah, nice. This is a makes this synth a hell of a lot easier to use. I can tell you that, because it's. I don't know if I see these kind of interfaces with all these. I mean, I know how to do it, but these days I program sounds also for fun, and if I don't need any sound anymore. I have plenty of other synths that can do basically everything what this does. So I don't have to program sounds on it. So if I program sounds, I want to do it because it's fun and it's easy, and you can get cool things out of it. And if I have to program it through that front panel, it's. I think I have, I have better things to do. So this is a super addition for this thing. Let's see if, of course, now everything here is closed. It's not motorized or anything. So of course the parameters are not will not match what you hear, but that's okay. Yeah, a little attack. Oh, you can actually. Yeah, that's actually this is the VCF. This is the filter envelope. What I wanted to do was the VCA envelope. Yeah, here's the VCA. Let's just turn it down. This thing responds. Yeah, these envelopes all respond. We talked about it with some of the other synths that I reviewed in my other videos. That all these envelope generators, yeah, you think an envelope generator is an envelope generator? No, it isn't. They all respond differently, and yeah, this is another one that's now the way, especially the decay, sustain, release. The way they work together, yeah, it's totally different again than the, for instance, the SH09, or we did the Polybrute. So yeah, and of course it's now with MIDI CCs, but that in theory that doesn't matter. But yes, it works. Wow, it works. I am still slightly flabbergasted that it does. Yeah, octave. Cool. Different waveforms. Ah, amazing. Amazing. A little LFO here. Let's see. You can also. Now you can switch the polarity of the VCF envelope generator. Okay, cool, fun. Let's see what else do we have. It's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes because you only have a few characters on that line, so you can't if it's a VCF. Envelope generator polarity. You have to make it short, and then if you don't look at this thing every day and you see the VCF, and what the hell is this? And so you have to, actually what you need to do is make some sort of a like this, but then for that, and then you can see what you're doing a little better. But that's, yeah, okay, that we'll do that some time. This is filter tracking. This is how strong the VCF envelope generator is. Yeah, it works. Amazing, amazing. Okay. No more. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. So if you have one of these things, now you saw how easy it was. It's basically just pop it open, all chips out, the chips in. If you change the battery, reload sounds, and good to go. And yeah, it's cool. And yeah, like I said, there's 3 different versions. They all have their own chips. I will leave in the description of the video, I will leave a link where you can buy these things. I bought this. This is not something that some marketing scam company sent me and said, "Hey, will you push our chips?" No, I bought this for this thing because hey, it makes it cool. There's actually a lot of companies these days that do that for all kinds of older synths. And yeah, why not? I've sold synths where I've now see quite a while ago. I used to have a Yamaha TX16W 12-bit sampler. Pain in the ass. I hated that thing. But same thing. People made a completely new operating system for it, and now it's crazy what it can do. And now other analog synths, digital synths, people do this. So please do it. Keep doing it. And if you have one of these, buy that stuff. So yeah, you keep these guys in business and keep these guys doing stuff because hey, it gives it a whole new life. And I haven't used it in a long time because, as I said, it's kind of a pain in the ass to work with it. And if you turn it on every time. and the sounds are gone and it doesn't work and it's on the wrong MIDI channel, and then you think laat in Dutch, and hey, you find another synth that will work. So actually this will put this machine kind of back in the work pile, and it's the only thing I have to do. I have a technician. I used to do this stuff myself, but I'm not doing it anymore. To get those voices you could hear that the volume of all the voices is very different. Some are way louder than others. There's 6 voices in there. They should all be the same level, and they definitely aren't. And that needs to be fixed. Maybe it's a voice chip. Maybe it's just there's trimmers on the board underneath here. So maybe it's those. I don't know. But I give it to somebody else and let them let them do it. So that's what needs to be done to this thing. But hey, I'm super stoked that it works with the remote. So this was my video for today, and I have to remind you to subscribe to the channel, blah blah blah, watch all the other videos, blah 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 blah. But you do that anyway. So and next, I think I will do 1 or 2 other like upgrade videos, because they are it's interesting stuff, and they're easy and simple to do. And if you have a bid one, get it. It's worth it. Till next time. Bye bye. I'm going to play some more.